again, they got New York's brass going against each other, and that brings us to last night. What did you think about last night's verses?
I mean, I was just I mean, quite frankly, just for the way that Joe went about it, I just thought he picked the wrong records, and I have the records that I feel like he should have played that he didn't play. Like for how he went about it, because he mixed in, he played all his really big hits, and the rest of it was his street stuff. But I don't think he played the right stuff.
Who do y'all think won last night in the chat? We got 60 people in the room, man. Shout out to everybody in the room. Who do y'all think won that versus last night? Ja Rule or Fat Joe? We're gonna go to the track by track listing, man. I think we're gonna check it off real quick. From what I saw, the energy and all that, and just how massive Ja Rule's records were, I think Ja Rule won. But
Yes.
again, I just don't. I didn't like the matchup in the first place. I think it might have been the strangest matchup we've seen.
Let me tell you why he did win, though, Mike. Because Fat Joe, first of all, Mike, Bronx Tale, Success, the shit is real. Produced by DJ Premier.
Hold on.
Respect
Before you get
mine.
into that, let's go to the tracks that were played. Let's go to the tracks that were played.
I was like, I'm like, okay, I'm like, but where? I'm like, oh, I'm waiting. I'm sitting up there waiting the whole time. Like, when they took the intermission, I was like, I'm not getting these records. It's
All
like
right,
it's very problematic.
let's go. It's Murder and Flojo. Who you got?
It's murder.
All right.
Told you, FloJo just. It's important to him, and I get it. He should not have played that record, Mike. I told you he should have, Mike. He should have came out with either Success or Respect Mine for the tone he was trying to set.
Okay. All right. Round two. Can I get her? Or well, they got freestyle here. This was his verse on I Shot Ya, LL's remix.
I'm gonna give it to the I Shot You remix, like just on a rap shit level.
See,
But
that's
when
the
he,
problem I have with this matchup. This is the
but
problem.
no,
Go
I
ahead.
want to say something about Ja Rule right quick. Like his hits are real and they're big, and when he did that, it just reminded me. I'm like, oh yeah, that's really his shit. This dude knows how to make a hit record. Joe's
Yeah.
in trouble if he don't play his best street shit, and that's when I realized it. And so when the Can I Get a no, Joe played some of his best street shit, and so I'm gonna give him a nod for that, Mike. But that's about the only time that he's gonna get that nod over Ja Rule's hits when we go down this list.
You know, I want to piggyback on that because I know I said a couple of weeks ago that I feel like Nelly is the best pure hit maker in hip hop. Ja Rule's in that list. Ja Rule
No,
is in that list.
he's
And did you
Mike.
peep what he said after he played Can I Get Her? Because Fat Joe was like, oh, you know, you go into your Jigga collaborations. And Ja said, I wrote that. I mean, I don't know if people caught that. And I
Yeah,
always
like
felt
I mean,
like, no, I always felt like Jigga's flow on there, he took Ja's flow. Can I hit it in the morning without giving you half of my dough? And if it was if I was over what you want, man, if I wasn't, I can hear Ja Rule rapping that. I ain't saying Ja wrote Jiggas rhymes, whatever, but let's keep it a buck. That's very Ja Rule influence.
it is. It just is. So yeah. But I'm gonna give that one to Joe. But I mean, but that's one of the few times that happened. Next one, let's go.
Man, listen, man, I want to stay on that a little bit because I know what songs I like better. I like I Shot You better, right? But
Right.
if we talking about hits, man, I can't really say that I Shot You is a bigger or better song than Can I Get Her. That's what this whole night was encompassed of. It was like
No, Mike.
Ja
So
would
that's
hit
what
you
I
with
no,
the
Mike. So
records that
that's
were
so,
undeniable, but Fat Joe would hit you with some records that you personally like.
so yeah, and so but let's speak to that right quick. No, Mike, the I Shot You remix on Mr. Smith is better than Can I Get a?
Of course it
And
is. Of course it is. But what are we talking about here? Are we talking about what's the better record or are we talking about what's the bigger hit?
see, for me, and that's what I mean about Kiss setting the tone. This is about like the impact now
Okay.
live too.
All right.
Like
Well, if
the
that's the
impact of
case,
it
I'm
live
with you.
is in effect now too. Because if we're just going by the bigger records, Mike, we should already know who's going to win walking into every one of these if that's the case. Because somebody's going to have an advantage every time.
G said something real potent. He said in New York it was bigger. Okay,
Ooh,
that's
that's
true.
strong.
All right,
No,
so
that's strong.
Murdergram and Diamonds. I'm going Murdergram.
You already know.
All right, Murdergram. So that's 2-1 Ja Rule. Holla Holla and Annie. I'm sorry, not Annie Up. Twins 98. See,
What say you,
this
Mike?
is
What
another
say
one of
you,
those. Listen,
Mike? Twins 98.
listen, man. This is one of those things where we've talked about Twins 98 for since 98. I think it is lyrically over the first deep cover. And, of course, you got those famous pun bars, but I'll give Twins 98 the edge last night because he brought out Remy Ma. And Remy Ma went out there and not only did the Dead in the Middle of Little Illy Diddle, did he know that he riddled the middle man who didn't do diddly. She did the other verse that I thought was even more difficult than that when she was like, I rub your face off the earth and curse your family's children like Amityville and drill the
Shatterer.
nerves of your
Yeah,
cavity
the
feeling
Dream Shatterer
insanity's
verse,
villain.
Mike.
Yeah.
That's one of
So
the best. Hold on, Mike, and just real quick, just so we stay right there, right quick. That verse on Dream Shatterer is one of the greatest verses of all time.
I was waiting on her to fumble up a little bit, but man, Remy knocked that shit out. So you know what? I'm gonna give Twins 98 that one, even though Holla Holla is Ja Rule's breakthrough record
It is.
and clearly a bigger hit. All
It
right.
is.
So now we 2-2. Between me and you, Ja Rule and all the way up. That's between me and you. I'm sorry.
It is.
All right, and then we got Living It Up. Love that song. John Blaze / I Don't Want to Be a Player.
I didn't like how that played necessarily. You like living it up more than I do.
I like Living It Up. I mean, but again, the Stevie Wonder chords, man.
I'm
Stevie
about to
Wonder
say I
chords are
just feel a
timeless,
certain type of
man.
way. That's one of those Stevie Wonder songs that I feel a certain type of way about. So I just it'd be hard for me to listen to that record sometimes because
I
I just
feel you,
love the
man.
first version so much. Like the first version to me is so special, and the fact that Dizzy Gillespie, just yeah.
Right. Listen, I don't
I
fault you, man, because every time, Men in Black comes on, I cringe. I turn it off, and people think I'm
I
bugging. But it's like,
no,
man,
yeah,
yeah, man, come on, man. Forgive Me Nots, that shouldn't even been touched. So,
right.
okay, I'm with you on that. You're going to give it to John Blaze over
I,
that.
I am, but I just didn't
Yeah.
like that pairing. Just that that was a whole problem.
My problem with John Blaze, though, while we're on that and that selection, and I love the song John Blaze, and I
He's got
say
the
this
weakest verse.
respectfully, yes.
Mike,
Joe's
he's
part is
on
the
a
weakest.
track with Nas,
I
Big
understand that.
Pun, Raekwon, and Jada Kiss. Mike, it's arguably the most lyrical lineup ever put out on a posse cut.
I understand that. That's why it shouldn't even been
He
played.
literally went and got like four of like Mike. Those are four of the 20 greatest lyricists of all time.
If
Maybe
you're not gonna bring out any one of them, I don't want you to even do the record.
Stripes show like
You
Reggie.
understand what I'm
No
saying?
intelligence, murder game, leave no evidence, credentials. I'm sorry, just
All right,
going
all
back.
right, all right, all right. Cool. So we're gonna go with John Blaze on that. So right now we 3-3.
Right.
Down
Not
ass
for long.
bitch. Slow down.
Down ass bitch.
Definitely. Put It On Me and Don Cartagena. As much as I love Don Cartagena, and I love that record, I'm
Let's
going with Put It On Me, man.
My Mike.
Thug Lovin', All I Do Is Win. I didn't like that.
Right. I didn't like that.
I didn't like that.
So Mike, so right there, why didn't he play like My World off Don Cartagena?
I don't like the fact that he tried to piggyback off of a DJ Khaled hit. He has a vast catalog where he doesn't have to do that.
Or Envy off of the Jealous Ones Envy.
Darnell Lee says Joe had to do that record.
Or take a look at My Life.
I love that record. Did he not do that?
Did he?
I think he might have done that. I believe I heard that.
No,
now I'm
he
thinking
didn't.
about Lifestyle. Nah.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
thinking about that.
And this
Yeah,
is
he-
when they went into this weird intermission where I guess Joe had to change clothes and Ja Rule was giving props to Tupac and did So Much Pain. Whatever. So we'll skip that. All right. Ain't It Funny? versus Sunshine. That's Ain't It Funny.
Not a question, Mike.
Not even a question. Down for You. So excited. Down for You.
Mike, I mean, and I just want you to I want to say this. Like, these are a lot of hits we're naming from Ja Rule.
It is.
Keep
Destiny Intro. And yes, these two are kind of a wash, man.
yeah. Watch that.
I'm not even gonna. Yeah, I don't really have a real answer
Count
for
either
that.
one of those records. I don't know what they were thinking when either one of them played either one of these records next.
Let's see. Rainy Days, Another Round. I think Rainy Days.
Mike, that's why I told you when I give him that I shot your freestyle over Can I Get Her?
Yeah,
Picking that
you
straight
almost
record up
had
record,
to.
that's not the only time it happened.
Clap Back versus I Won't Tell.
Mike, so this is what I'm talking about. When he went to Clap Back, that's why I was like, oh, well, Joe, you got this. You can play that gangster shit, Crack Attack, Respect Mine, The Shit Is Real, Success, Bronx Tale, Triplets.
Listen, I would have loved to have heard Crack Attack. I don't understand why that wasn't played. You know what I'm going to say, and I kind of see this in this playlist here, man. I feel like Joe runs from his 90s catalog in ways that we've talked about certain artists doing to stay relevant. You know what I mean? You don't want to sound like the old guy. He started off with Flojo, and yeah.
The Shit Is Real, Mike. I don't understand.
Did Trez not get played? Okay. I Cry versus Get It Poppin'. He brought Nelly out and did Hot in Here. I Cry is better than that.
It is.
Mesmerize. What's Love? Mesmerize is better.
What's Love.
I hate What's Love, but you know.
No, how about this? When they did that, I was like, Always on Time is the Ashanti record collaboration of all Ashanti record collaborations.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
Always on Time is my favorite Ja Rule record. Like, period.
You're right. You're right. Hold on. Always on Time wasn't played? Yeah, Always on Time was next.
That's why I'm saying that. Okay. But Mesmerize is not as good as What's Love, but Always on Time is way better than What's Love.
I think we can honestly say Mesmerize was the end of Murder Inc. That was when the run was officially over.
That was the last song from the run.
Yeah. We got 107 people in the room right now, man. Shout out to y'all, man. Who do y'all think won last night?
Great run, though.
Yeah.
It was a great run. Like in this run, you can see. Like, how about this, Mike? You want to know what I thought? I was like, no, this is a problem for 50.
It is. People laugh it off. Yeah.
So let's just go. Like, I mean.
Hold on. Let me go to the last couple ones, right? So we got Always on Time and Make It Rain. I got Always on Time. I never was a big fan of Make It Rain. Even though
that's easy. Yeah. Always on Time is a classic hip-hop record.
I'm Real versus Lean Back. Where do you stand on this one?
You want to know what, Mike? I mean, I thought I was going to say Lean Back, but I'm going to have to call this a tie.
I'm leaning more towards I'm Real, honestly. I never was a huge fan of Lean Back like that. I always thought that record was overblown.
I love the record, but I still think it's a tie.
I'm not mad at that being a tie. I don't think people remember how big I'm Real was. Because now we're going at hit records. We're not really talking about the quality of the record, I guess. You know what I'm saying? When you got Jennifer Lopez going back and forth on some rap singing shit. I mean, like Ja Rule said last night, he was one of the first people to do that. But a lot of people in the chat are saying Lean Back. We can give it to Joe and Lean Back. Let's just say we give Joe Lean Back because this is looking crazy. And they did New York, which is a wash. So based on what we just went through, and a lot of people in the chat agreed, this is looking like Ja Rule won this 12-5.
Yes.
Ja Rule won this 12-5, and whenever we have something like that, and shout out to now that's a good look for the chart too. Whenever we have a wash like this, 12-5. That means this wasn't a good matchup. That means that Ja Rule should have been in there with somebody else.
So when we were talking about, 50 ducking T.I., it's like really he ducked Ja Rule first. And my takeaway from this versus is this: if we were going to just do a regional actual versus, 50 was the best person suited.
And you're right. Ja Rule actually asked for that challenge early. You remember that when he got on the line with Swiss Beats?
Remember Swiss got shady with him?
Yeah, Swiss was like,
keep it like Ja, like, man, we grown men now. Like, what you talking about?
What are you talking about? Yeah, Swiss brushed him off like, And this is during the time when we were still going through COVID real heavy, and people were doing this from their homes, so they weren't even supposed to meet in person. Like you sat there and brushed that off. They didn't want to make that happen for whatever reason.
That's politics as usual. Wow,
Yeah,
boy.
for real, man. Lex Diamond says Fat Joe is another Puffy. A lot of good verses with ghostwriters. Whoa.
Respectful. Did you not listen to the tracks that I named that he didn't play? That's not ghostwritten tracks. No, no.
Joe is a very interesting artist, man, in a sense where it's like he's been able to keep it level to stay around the whole time. He's never really been the biggest guy in the game, but he's always
been
there.
A viable player and entity. Yes.
And I mean, that's to be respected, but I don't think Ja Rule is the best matchup for him. Who do you think would have been a better matchup for Fat Joe? Because again, this looks like a wash. This is 12-5 for the people who are just coming in the room. We just went down track for track, and it looked like it was 12-5 Ja Rule. Ja Rule smoked Fat Joe last night.
So, can I speak to something?
Go ahead.
And it not sound disrespectful because I love Joe. Maybe Joe just isn't big enough in stature and legendary stature as a hip hop artist or catalog to maybe be chosen to do this type of verses.
This
Do you
type
get
of
what I'm
format.
saying when I'm
I
saying
understand
that?
what you're saying.
Like Ja Rule for whatever. And I want to say something right quick too. Like when I was watching this replay before our show, Mike, people were in there and like they were really trolling real heavy, talking shit about Joe and Ja Rule. Like, let me tell y'all something. Like, I keep on saying this, Mike. The songwriting process of writing a hip hop song is extremely hard, and so is making a hip hop record. Both of these dudes have made themselves viable entities for a very long time. You dudes that's on here trolling, talking shit about Joe and Ja Rule, y'all can't fuck with Joe or Ja on the mic. Y'all can't make them hits Ja just made. Mike, them hits Ja Rule just ran down. Any rap artist worth his weight, damn near with the exception of like Mike, most of these guys would take Ja Rule's career in those hits right now.
Well,
if you ask it to trade places, can I beat Ja Rule for 3, 4, 5 years? Yeah, they trade.
I think the thing is, man, the public perception. I think, not to interrupt you, but I think the public perception of Ja Rule has been trashed because 50 Cent, G Unit, and all that, and the timing and how that happened. Again, that's why I don't like the way Puff addressed that whole Jermaine Dupri thing. For people who don't really know any better, they'll see that comment and think, oh man, JD's a scrub. You know what I'm saying? And we need to put people's careers in perspective, and you're right. If Ja Rule would have been able to get that challenge from 50 Cent, this would have been I think that versus would have changed the whole trajectory of how people view Ja Rule's career. Now, I will say this. Big ups to Fat Joe for allowing Ja Rule that platform, because a lot of people didn't want to give Ja Rule that platform, Swiss Beats included, when he asked for the 50 Cent thing. You know what I'm saying? If anything, Fat Joe took this beating so people could recognize what Ja Rule did in his career. You know what I'm saying?
You want to know what? And so I do want to say that about Joe, and that's a very poignant and strong statement you just made, Mike. This verse has happened more because of the respect that Fat Joe garners as a man in this industry than anything else, because for some reason, even after all this time, even when you listen to all these great hit records that the man made, people have just kind of blackballed Ja Rule a little bit to a degree, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. And it reminds me of this JD thing. Like, for whatever reason, people want to act like their careers aren't what they are.
And for those of you who don't know, you know what I'm saying? Fat Joe is one of those dudes in hip hop circles that people just don't fuck with or talk about or disrespect for a multitude of reasons. And he put this together, and shout out to him for doing that. He ain't have to do that shit. But you want to know what? Part of the reason why he has that respect is because he's as solid as a dude as you gonna find.
Yeah. And and like I said, I give him mad respect for giving Ja Rule that platform to show people who might have forgotten what Ja Rule has done in his career. And that right there is to be commended. And that is why I'm knocking what Puff is doing in this Jermaine Dupri thing. You know what I'm saying? Don't sit here and act like Jermaine Dupri's career is not what it is. Go ahead and accept this challenge. And again, if Jermaine Dupri is such a wash like you say he is, why don't you go ahead and wash him in a versus? What's the problem? No one wants to see Puffy and Dr. Dre. No one wants to see that but Puffy. Let's just be honest. No one wants to see that. Dr. Dre would drag Puff. Let's keep it a buck, man. And I'm not saying this disrespectfully because I'm one on record that says Dr. Dre will drag everybody in this. Just
Everybody
sonically.
taking
the
that
way
L, Mike. You gonna start pulling stuff out like Natural Born Killers with Ice Cube. It's a whole problem.
I mean, really, man. As soon as he presses the button, man, it's different, man. Like I said, I think that the one thing that is indicative of this whole, thing that I'm talking about when it comes to Dr. Dre and how his production is different. We heard DMX do Slippin', one of his most brilliant records. Incredible record.
It might be his most well-written song, Mike.
Right. And Snoop came through with Murder Was the Case, and it just sonically dwarfed it, man. That's what we're up against here when you talk about Dr. Dre in these conversations.
It was a whole problem because here's what I'm saying. That might be one of the most intense and passionate writers ever. At his most intense and passionate. And then the beat to Murder Was the Case came on. And it was just like...
And it was something different. It was
oh,
something.
God. It's like, no.
It was a whole experience.
Did he just wash Slipping away? Not beat it, but wash it away. Like, it wasn't like an epic rap song. I'm like, oh, my God. Like, shit hit different.
This one turned out to be what, 12-5. If let's just say Dr. Dre accepted Puff's challenge, it would be worse than this. I don't even know what Puff would play against
You're nobody
Dr. Dre.
until somebody kills you, Mike.
I mean, come on, man. As brilliant of a record as that is, Dre got hella shit that'll watch that, and that's just the truth. Yeah,
Mike, I told you, Mike, Natural Born Killers with Dre and Ice Cube. I never, ever made a hoe stay, but I'm down with Dre. Like AC is down with OJ.
I don't even think he would play that, though.
The unforgiving, psycho-driven murderer. Yeah,
I don't even think he would play. I don't think Dre would even play stuff from that. I like to call it, like, I guess, Natural Born Killer era. It's like the Aftermath era when he was on that Mad Max shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he would play anything from that.
Using that as an example of how he has like epic shit everywhere. Mike, keep their heads ringing.
Yeah, I don't even think he would play that. That's Dre in that Mad Max era. Like, what, been there, done that, keep your heads ringing. He would play California Love. But I don't think anything from that first Aftermath album, that period, no.
Playing Phone Tap.
You think so? I don't think so. I mean, it's a great record.
20 best beats, Mike. Phone Tap is one of his 20 best beats.
Hey, Phone Tap's great. But
Dr. Dre's 20 best beats is saying a lot.
Do you think so? I'm gonna have to think about that.
I do. Phone Tap is one of Dre's 20 best beats.